Okay, 1903. Let's do this. No, we'll go another round. ZS6OP is still standing by for further check-ins. Okay, Pierre, just to let you know, you dropped off a Zoom. I don't know what happened there, but let's see what happens. ZS6OP is standing by for further check-ins. We'll make this a second last call for check-ins. Go ahead now. Okay, guys, 1904. Let's do this as the last call for check-ins, and then I'm going to start the net. ZS6OP is standing by. Okay, 1905. There we go. No further check-ins. Good evening, everybody. Let's get started with the net this week. Don't mind me blowing across the microphone. I'm just trying to get rid of one of those big blotches on the glasses because all of a sudden I couldn't see the microphone. But anyway, I trust everybody as well, and that you are in good spirits, seeing as we are halfway through the year, literally officially in the 6 months of 2022. ZS6OP is returning. That being said, I'd like to remind everybody that this net runs every Sunday evening from 1900 to around about 2000. It all depends on what we are doing due to the low turnout, generally speaking, across the repeaters, which I still believe is due to the idiotic transmissions of repeaters talking to each other and transmitting CW and all the rest of it. It has chased all the radio amateurs away. However, I do know that there are many of you that are out there that just listen. You're either too shy, too scared, too afraid, or just are generally intimidated to join the net. However, please, I would like to encourage you to go ahead and join in the net and participate and bring the numbers up, and that way it will make it so much easier to actually prepare specific material for these nets. I'd also like to remind all of the listeners out there that you do not need to be a member of any club, body, entity, or otherwise to join the net. Of course, the only thing you need is a paid-up ECRN license. With that, you can use any of the radio amateur bands, regardless of what other people might tell you. The only authority that you need to follow is what is written into the regulations. Okay, ZS6OP is returning now because of the fact that Fani can't make the repeater and Pierre has dropped off of Zoom. Let's just do a quick hello there with Pierre and Gavin, and then I will continue with the net. So Pierre, please, let's see if you can still make the repeater from where did you say you were? Centurion, Pretoria side. ZS6OPS, ZS6OPS, go ahead, over. Okay, nothing heard from Pierre. I wonder if he didn't lose his power completely and everything has died out that side. Pierre, you're more than welcome just to send me a message. Let me know if you just didn't make the repeater or what. Gavin, ZS6GAV, ZS6OPS.
I think it's the same chance that on the hotel routine every morning. I'm busy programming this radio. I don't know what you're about to start, but I certainly will listen for a while. And I wonder how I'm doing. Am I making this repeater? And Ken's not very high on my side. If I could better report, there go ahead.
Yeah, there we go, Gavin. Yeah, affirmative. That's me, the one and only old Papa Smurf that normally comes up on the Porkies Club in the morning from 8 to 9. And of course, always monitoring various of the other repeaters around the Gauteng area. Readability, my side from you, 5.5 via the repeater. And I'll give you a 4 out of 5 on the input. A little bit rainy. But okay, we'd still be able to work simplex with absolutely no problems at all. All right, good stuff. Let's move on and let's have a look at what I have got that I wanted to discuss this week. Firstly, our COVID figures globally, of course, now we are at 576,819,000 as opposed to last week's 569. So even here again, the last month in particular, I have been reporting an increase in the number of cases globally that have been reported on. Last week was about 5.5 million. I see this week we're over the 6 million mark. So the COVID-19 cases most definitely are on the increase worldwide. This has now become the trend ever since the new variant called Ninja has reared its head and showed its face to the world. And the death toll this week is standing at 6,399,498. On average, we are about 383, 399. So we're about 16,000 new cases this week, and we normally do around that to 20 to 25 new cases or new deaths being reported globally. The South African figures, on the other hand, have actually dropped off quite considerably, but there again, so have the number of tests being conducted. That has tapered off, and our numbers at the moment are way below the 500 mark, sort of averaging 300 death toll during the course of the week. We've had 2 or 3 days where no deaths at all have been reported. Now, incidentally, the NICD, the National Institute of Communicable Diseases, has announced that they will no longer be issuing daily reports as they have been doing for the last two years and 4 months. They will not be doing it, but there is still an online website that we can monitor the daily progress of what is happening. And I think it is the sacoronavirus.co's website. Okay, ZS6OPS returning after clearing a timeout timer. And while I'm doing this, I'm actually just busy setting Zoom up so that it would in actual fact work a little bit better with the microphone, etc. And of course, yeah, George, I see that you have requested to be let in. So I want to acknowledge George has now joined us. Sorry, George, the notification didn't come up to say that you were there, but I have now admitted you to Zoom. So let's have a look and see. It says you are joining. Okay, I know that you will be monitoring us. You normally also have a bit of a problem getting through from Lanseria on the handheld, but you can in actual fact monitor us. Now, moving on to the next subject, and that is the one of monkeypox. As I said last week, we will have to keep an eye out on what is happening with monkeypox worldwide. Last weekend, Dr. Tedros, World Health Organization, did declare monkeypox a primary emergency, or what's it, an emergency. I'll give you the correct terminology now. I keep on getting that one absolutely upside down, and I never get it right. But it's a health emergency, a primary health emergency of international concern. There we go. It's on the same level as COVID-19. And of course, it was first detected on the 6th of May, with the first case being reported. And now on the last figure that has been logged is on the 28th of July. We have now got 21,067 new cases or cases that have been reported worldwide. South Africa is sitting at the moment on 3 reported cases. And what is interesting to note is that in terms of monkeypox, the New York City or the New York State, State of New York, State of California have both declared states of emergency or declared a state of emergency for their particular areas due to the rise and increase in monkeypox cases. I think Spain was another one that has also put some measures in place now. So monkeypox most definitely is going to be something that we will have to monitor and watch, as I said last week. And again, it's another one of these diseases, ZS6-OPS returning, or viruses that can actually be spread through physical contact. This one is not a respiratory disease, but most definitely is transmitted via physical contact between people, bedding and things like that. And then let's have a look and see in the rest of the world. There were some serious reports of flooding in Iran this week. Unfortunately, a couple of people, 45 people are missing, and several dozen people have lost their lives due to the floods and landslides that have wreaked havoc in Iran. Wildfires are still continuing in certain parts of Europe due to the increased heat and, well, I don't want to use climate change, but definitely the higher temperatures that they are experiencing. And then California and Montana also, there's been several reports of wildfires exploding in size and forcing evacuation orders, etc., in particular in the northern parts of California. So that there's another part of the world that are really and truly suffering from these high heats, although parts of the US and of course Australia do in actual fact or at least are subjected to fire outbreaks on an annual basis. As we know, the US with tornadoes and hurricanes and all the other good weather conditions. The thing that South Africa should be concerned about is outside of the flooding of KZN from May, of course, is the fires down in the Western Cape in particular, down in the forestry regions, Knysna and George and surrounding areas. Several parts of the Western Cape were subjected to fires during the course of the early months of this winter season. Okay, ZS6-OPS returning. So that being said, guys, and I see that Zoom says it's going to time out in 10, not a problem. I'll reopen it and we can take it from there. As soon as the time's out, I'll reopen. You guys can join us. Now, you know, I just wanted to very briefly cover Section 32 or Regulation 32 of the radio frequency spectrum regulations of 2015. There's been several comments being made during the course of the week from what people have been telling me, that there are certain things that shouldn't be discussed on amateur radio, and again, I'd just like to point out, of course, being controversial as I am, that it's absolute hogwash for you guys that are listening there that promote this issue, that you shouldn't be discussing certain things on amateur radio. I'd like you to be fully aware of the fact that the only things that we may not discuss are any language which judged within context, take note of that, judged within context, violates the dignity or privacy of a person, or amounts to profanity, or obscenity, or amounts to propaganda for war, or amounts to the incitement or imminent violence, or amounts to the advocacy of hatred based on race, ethnicity, religion, or gender, and that constitutes incitement to cause harm. Those are the only things you're not allowed to discuss on radio. Amateur radio. That section, well, that's on any radio. Doesn't make a difference. But Section 32 doesn't just apply to radio amateur or amateur radio. But that is it covers all radio communications. However, Section 32, subsection 2, says that subregulation 1 shall not apply to bona fide literature, drama, documentary, or scientific material, or to bona fide religious debate. So anything that's contained within literature, we can discuss it on amateur radio, on all radio for that matter. Anything of a drama nature, we can discuss it. Or we can play it out and we can have a full-blown drama queen session on amateur radio. Documentary or scientific material, we can in actual fact do it. According to Section 32 or Regulation 32, sub-regulation 2, we can in actual fact, the ZS6OPS returning, we can in actual fact have a bona fide, meaning a genuine, legitimate debate on religious matters. So please, those people that have this habit of stipulating that you may not do this and you may not say that and you may not do everything else, you're misleading people. Not only that, there's a couple of other things. I'll deal with that in a different manner, not at this moment in time. Believe you me, I will discuss it on air because it is relevant on air. So, you know, we really got to stop misleading people in terms of what we can and cannot do on the bands or on the radios or anything else for that matter. There is just one section that I am looking for that I want to bring in as well. It's under 23, but I just need to find it quickly if I can get to it. Unfortunately, my PC seems to be acting up here. All right, so Regulation 23, Sub-Regulation 10A, or 10 says a licensee is permitted to engage in communication with other licensed amateur radio stations using the permitted amateur bands, and such communication must be restricted to comments on technical investigations. Guys, take note, there is no full stop there. There's actually a comma, and it says, remarks of a personal nature and other items of common interest. So there are actually 3-4 things that we can discuss. The regulations has given us that permission. We are permitted to comment on technical investigations, which is definitely amateur related, but it could also be in other technical aspects. But any comments of a personal nature, we can discuss it. And other items of common interest. So if I wanted to discuss the manner within which a needle and pin are made and manufactured with George, who's smoking his cigarette. George, I thought you'd have given up. You see, there's a subject of common interest. No radio amateur or amateur radio operator has the right to tell us that we can't discuss these matters. So I'd like to encourage all of those amateurs out there to please move out of the 1902 regulations. The ZS6OPS returning and comply with the new regulations of 2015. And maybe we won't have so many people turning their radios off and not coming on because they've been told they're not allowed to do this, they're not allowed to do that, and do all the other good stuff. But in any event, there we go. There is one limitation that has been put on us in terms of Section 2310. And it says that when you follow comments on technical investigations, comments or remarks of a personal nature and other items of common interest, which must not include commercial or business communication for which an electronic communication service, i.e. a cell phone, for example, maybe another commercial radio network, for example, would have been used had the amateur radio communication not been available. that would include faxes, whatever the case might be. So any business related stuff that could be done on other commercial frequencies or via cell phones, telephone networks, faxes, emails, whatever the case might be, because remember, electronic communication is not just limited to two-way radio. It does include your data communications, emails, SMSs, WhatsApp messages, social media, whatever the case might be. It's all built into that. So that is where that's the only thing that we cannot, in actual fact, discuss, or should, in actual fact, discuss on air. Anything of a commercial nature, commercial or business communication nature. We shouldn't be doing that. And of course, as I said, just generally speaking, don't incite violence and all the other good stuff. Right, so let's hear. Any other late joiners that would like to come in? Zoom, I will open up for you guys in a minute. Any other late joiners that would like to be added to the bottom of the list? Otherwise, I'm going to move on to close the net. ZS6OP is standing by. Okay, nobody else. Anybody got any questions? I know, Gavin, you're the only one, but Pierre could still be there. He might have joined us again on air. And any questions? Otherwise, I'm going to shut down and reopen Zoom. And Gavin, you're more than welcome to come and join me on Zoom. I do believe you have the link. ZS6IP is standing by. Okay, seems everybody has gone off, but that's not a problem. This net is not just designed for those that check in, but it is also there for those that don't. So I hope you guys enjoyed a little bit of education on the new regulations. Please don't believe me. I don't expect you to believe me or to take my word for it. I encourage you to open the regulations up, find it on the icasa.org.za website, read it for yourself, and, at least don't celebrate your own ignorance in terms of the regulations, and don't be a sheep and follow what other people say, which is not true and correct. For this next week, guys, again, be safe. We still have flu, we've got COVID, we've got monkeypox. So physically distance yourself, wear a mask if you are around people that could suffer a serious illness if they become infected, and sanitize your hands. Be safe, be prepared, and of course, be happy. ZS6IP is releasing 145.625 for general use. Cheers all.